Buenas, buenas. Welcome to Music Marketing TV. I'm Kevin Ochoa, and today we're going to take a look at NUGEN's Music Producer Bundle, or the NUGEN Producer Bundle, as it's known, which includes 9 plugins in total. So I'm going to be mixing a track for you guys and going through how I use the 9 plugins in my session. So the 9 plugins are Paragon ST, which is the stereo version of Paragon. The Stereoizer, which is a really great plugin for creating stereo effects while staying compatible in mono. Then we have the Monofilter, which is quite fantastic when you're working with synths, bass lines that are really wide in the low end or have a lot of chorus. Then we have the Visualizer, which is one of the plugins I use all the time. I actually have it running on my system, so it's available to use as a plugin and as a system-wide app. Then we have ISLst, which is the stereo version of ISL, and it's a fantastic and transparent sounding limiter. Then there is Mastercheck, which is something that I use pretty much every day as well for checking my mixes, how they would sound like encoded. The next plugin up here is the SEQ-ST, which is a fantastic spline-based EQ. So instead of EQing your signal, adding one band at a time, you can kind of use this as a paintbrush. The next plugin is the Stereoplacer, which, as the name suggests, lets you change the placement of specific frequencies inside of the stereo image. So if you have something like a cowbell on the right-hand side, you can flip it over and move it to the other side. Finally, there is SigMod, which is a signal modification unit. Basically, it allows you to change your signal flow. So in the video, I will actually use this plugin to route Saturn from FabFilter to only process the side information on a bass line. Anyway, let's hop over to my DAW and start working on the mix. I'm going to play back the track demo that I have here. It's already mixed a little bit, but I'm going to show you how to take this further, and also I'm going to show you some of the processing I already have here. Okay, so that's the track right there. It's pretty cool track. There is a little bit of instrumentation. There's not that much going on. So there's a kick, there's a drum group right here. Let's play all the drums together. So there's a club kick and the drums from Groove Agent. And a kick from kick 2 from Sonic Academy. Pretty straightforward to work with those plugins. However, if you look here at my sends, I do like to add them to a drum group and also a drum room because I want them to feel a little bit more alive. So here let me show you the drum group reverb. Let's see, where is it? Drum room right here. It's this Paragon. It's gonna be very quiet, so let me bring it a little bit. As you can see here, there is different presets here, and I've chose the tight drum ambience preset. So you can check right here. See what type of presets you like, and then you can say, okay, in my case, I wanted to do a tight drum room. Let's see, another one. Let's look at a small room preset. And they're all going to sound slightly different. So Paragon works via having IRs, and these are highly sophisticated IRs that NUGEN themselves make. So you can actually test your sounds right here. With some preset audio files. Easy examples are going to really help you get a clean sound. So in our case, I'm going to use the drums. And then I'm going to choose Hotel Lobby. Okay. And the bathroom is also pretty cool. Ooh, that would be really great for some gated drums. Okay, so I'm gonna stick to the hotel lobby for now. And let's pause that. Let's go back to main. Here I have some information or some parameters regarding my filters. So I have high pass and low pass filters. I also have a mixer here. So it's incredible how natural this sounds. Now we have control over the decay. So we wanted this to decay longer. And this is in relation to the IRs. And there's this really cool feature that I absolutely love. It's the mic distance. So as you can hear, if we push this further back, we get the effect as if we were farther away, or we position the mic farther away from the source. So this is actually quite fantastic. Let me just loop this section right here. that is simply fantastic. Let's go back to the rest of the track. Let me lower the pre-delay though, because I think I pushed it a little bit too long. Yeah, it's a little bit unnatural sounding. Let's go back to the drum room and let me just bring that back down. It's a tiny room. Okay, now let's take a look at the bass. So I have two basses here. I have a respace from Serum. This just comes for 2 parts in the track. And to be honest, this bass, I don't really mind being in stereo. Part of the function of raise spaces is for them to have this fluctuation in the left and right channel. So I think it's good. Now, if I wanted to tame it, I could use the NUGEN Monofilter right here. And check this out. We have a highly modulated signal on the left and the right channel. So we have lots and lots of movement. You can see that. Now, if I grab the monofilter, I can turn my signal completely to mono, and it's still timbrally or sonically great sounding. Because what I find a lot of these monofilter plugins is that they'll, or monofilter type of plugins, is that they'll like just suck the side channel out and you get this phasey mono channel, and you don't get that here. There's a high quality mode as well. Now you have control over the phase of the plugin as well. Now for most scenarios, the phase at 0 is going to work well. You could also do auto phase, and you should also take care of it. So that's that. We then have options over mono output, stereo, or full. Likewise with the left channel, right channel, or stereo input. So if you want to feed it more mid or more side information, you can do that. See this? If we open it up completely, that's all stereo information. That's all mono information. So the majority of the signal here is actually moving around in the side channel. Now, what I'll do is I'll just bring the low end bit in, so maybe -20, and that's usually what I would do for my dance tracks. I could push it down to -30, but you start to lose a lot of that effect. So for like a dance track with a respace that's like a drum and bass record or a dubstep record, maybe I would apply the respace, the monofilter on the respace like this. Now for a record like this, where the main bass is this plucky, funky bass right here, hear how it's panned a bit to the right. So yeah, once it's enabled, we have this low end focus in the center channel. And we're able to keep some of that high frequency detail in the stereo field, so we don't get rid of that stereo image completely. Let's go back. All right, so it's quite fantastic that we're able to get such natural sounding results. So besides using the monofilter, I could also use SEQ-S to get a similar result. The way I can do this is by activating the side channel and filtering out the side channel information. So let me just give you a quick rundown of SEQ-S here. Let's load it. So it's as easy and quick as that to create an EQ curve for your signal. Now, I really like this workflow because instead of working with different bands and different cues and whatnot, you can quickly draw out the frequency response curve that you like. See, if I wanted something that's a bit more nasally, I could do this. Let's loop this and... And that was so quick to dial in because I was able to scoop some of my mid-range out, boost some of the high mids out, and then cut off high end out really quickly. If I wanted to have something that's nice and dark, I could do this. And it's as quick as that to get that warm sound. Now, for what I did with the plugin right here, to create that mid-side processing, it's actually quite easy. Let's just reload the plugin. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the curve right here. I'm going to assign the curve 1 to only process the side channel. Okay, now with this, I could quickly just grab the low end and scoop it out like that. Likewise, if I want to have a more nasal timbre on the side information, I could do this. It's all up to your taste. Now, another tip you can do with SEQ-S is, for example, here I have my drums. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll make this a little bigger so it's easier to work with. Now, I'm going to activate the second channel, or the second graph, sorry, and I'm going to assign it to my left and my right channel. And what I'll do is I'll create a curve. And then I'll click this morph button right here. And now I can say, hey, throughout the scope of, let's say, 6 seconds, I want you to go from curve A to curve B. And that is incredibly cool. So what you could do with this is, if you're working on a movie or scoring to picture, if you're working with a scene where you are going from a nightclub or from outside a nightclub into a nightclub, you could have the low end rumble be the only thing that's left in the graph, and then you can click on the morph button and slowly grow into the actual full frequency spectrum. It's a great little tip to use. And what's also cool is that you can create different nodes, so you don't have to sound like the typical DJ filter effect. You could actually sound a bit more natural. All right, so that's pretty cool. It's definitely a very helpful trick to apply to different types of music. You could even put this on, let's say, a build-up. You would just have to time the amount of bars. So, for example, you have a track that's 150 BPM, and you have every beat be 400 milliseconds. Then you would multiply that beat times, let's say, 16 times, it'd be 400 times 32. So you do the math and you could create the appropriate length of modulation. Now we've looked so far at a few different ways of adding that process of removing side signal from or low signal from the side channel. Now I want to do another one, which is using NUGEN SigMod to separate the mid and the side channel process on another third-party plugin. So in this case, I'm using SigMod to load up an instance of Saturn II. And what I'm doing is I'm only processing and saturating the higher frequencies, and the low frequencies are brought all the way down, which is what gives me the impression that I'm cutting the low end, but also saturating the sides information. So I'm getting some more presence in the high end, and the synth bass doesn't sound as dark anymore. So let me show you how to do this. Let's load up an instance of SigMod. Okay. Now, as you can see here, my other SigMod instance that I've made use a preset I made here. If I go to user KO mid side, here I added a left or right channel decoder, and then there's another encoder over here that I'm gonna add. I can go right here to add more differences or more splits in my signal. Here I'm gonna add a other signal right here, and what I'll do is I'll do a mid side. Okay, I'll enable that, and then let's bring this down to 0 dB. And now what I'll do is I'll activate one of these, turn it on, and then I'll use Saturn. And for this one, I'll choose the mono version. So Saturn to mono. Okay, when I click on it, I can load it. And now I'm only going to be processing the side channel for Saturn II. And just to verify this, let's load up a plugin called MSED from Voxengo. And what I'll do is I'll mute the side signal. So we're going to hear that when I remove the SigMod, the mid signal is going to be intact. So this means that the process that SigMod is engaging is correctly being applied, and it's only on the side channel. So with this in mind, I can then tell Saturn II to split the channel or split the signal into 2 bands. Okay. Let's bring this one down. Oh, sorry. Let's deactivate MSED. There we go. And there we go. So you can see that this helps quite a bit. So we could actually create different processes that developers didn't include inside their own plugins. So for example, let's close the SigMod. Let's add another one. And let's change this out, add a Pultec emulation. Okay, so here I loaded a PugTec. And what I can do is change the frequency response on the mid and the side signal, which I couldn't do before. Let's load up another instance of the PugTec over here. Boom, there we go. So now I can process my signal in mid-side mode with a plugin that was not necessarily meant for that. Okay, now let's turn on the process and play back the track. Now let's say I want to add in another plugin to add air back into the mid channel. I can add another insert over here. Let's do insert, okay. And let's see. First, hold on. Because I still want it to be in mono. Let's add an insert right here. Okay. Let's set it to be in dual, and then I'll add another mid-side right here. Okay, and let's turn this one on and this one as well. Right here, I'm just gonna, let's see, we got the air. Fresh air from Steven Slate. Okay, let's play this back. And I think I might have set this up wrong because we're only getting some signal on the left channel. There we go. I didn't need this one. There we go. Okay. So we got some pretty good result. Let's listen to the track completely itself. Man, they just sound so great. It's such a creative tool. SigMod is definitely something you should have in your arsenal. Whether it's music production or post-production, I think it's a very invaluable tool, and it lets you expand the capabilities of plugins that you already have. Okay, so that's SigMod. Let's go over to the melody over here. And with this one, I have the monofilter, because I wanted to make it a little bit less stereo. The thing is, sometimes when you have orchestral instruments or sample-based instruments, is that the stereo information is kind of baked into them, which is great if you're gonna try to orchestrate, because some samples are already mic'd properly and they're positioned correctly in the stereo field. However, if you're working with like pop records, you might not want that. I think Monofilter does a great job at controlling this stereo information without losing it completely. So you can see here that we've dialed it in a bit, not completely mono, but it's a bit more mono. Okay, and then over here I have a Wurlitzer that just has a dBX processing on it, and there is the reverb that's on it. Might be a little delay. So what I want to do now is add some more reverb to this. So let me get my panel right here. Let's add some sends. Let's use, how about we use a medium reverb on this. Let's edit the Paragon instance. Yeah, I'm digging that. Okay, let's just push it a little bit back. Okay, there we go. I really like that now. Okay, so here's an instance of UVI Falcon. There's a little guitar sound that I liked from there. Now, I did quite a bit of processing on this now. I added an SEQ-S, and I changed the left and the right channel because I wanted to create some variance in the signal. If you hear the original one, it's quite centered. Not completely centered, but it's much more balanced. And I wanted to create something that moved a bit more to a different channel. So I added that, and we can see here, if we go to assign, we see that the third curve, this curve right here, this yellow one, is assigned to the right channel, and the other one, the orange one, is assigned to the left channel. So we see here that I boosted the right channel a bit more, just so it could poke out a little bit more on that channel. And on top of this, I pushed this to be a bit wider than it is. using Stereoizer. Now, the cool thing about Stereoizer is that unlike many stereoizing plugins, your mono signal remains really nice and clean. Let me show you with the MSED turned on. Whenever I turn on that Stereoizer on and off, the mono signal remains exactly the same. So it's quite a lovely plugin that lets you create some width without sacrificing your mono signal. I really, really love it. It's on my mixes and on my productions every single day. So really love this plugin. Let me show you some little tidbits about it. Let's turn off that MSED and let's go to a different section though. Let's go here. You can change certain parameters about it. The low bound, high bound. So it's basically like a filter that tells you, okay, I don't want you to filter or widen beyond this point. And then there is the width right here. And no matter how much you push this will still sound really good in mono. You have a control over resolution here. You can invert the channels. You can change the acuity. You can also use a dynamic shape that's linked to tempo. Or not linked to tempo, depending on how you want to decide to use it. So again, this is a fantastic plugin. It's also very lightweight on the CPU, so I really like that. And let's hop over to the next instrument here. Down here we have some of the strings. And for that, I think I'm not doing much. Just a gain knob. Okay, so that covers, I think, most of the instrumentation here. Now, what I like to do is show you something on the master bus. Let's add an ISL, which is the true peak limiter. So let's pump up some level right here. Okay, now I covered this plugin in a little bit more detail as well inside the loudness toolkit video, so make sure you check out that video as well. But for now, the main information here that's important for production is the input gain, the true peak limiting. So right here we have it set to -2. I would recommend -1 for streaming services, as it covers most of the terrain. We have control over the look ahead, the release. You also have the ability to turn the auto release on and off. You also have control over channel linking. Which for a pop record kind of sounds wonky. So I recommend having this above 75 or 80-ish for a pop record. Because basically if you have like an instrument, for example, the guitar here where it's a little bit more heavy on one channel, if it's overwhelming that channel, if they're unlinked, that channel is going to compress, or that sound's going to cause the channel to get compressed and compress all the instrumentation on that channel. So your kick, your snare will also be quieter, not just your guitar. Another important thing is the meter here. You can see the reduction. And you can see either as a meter like that, or you can see as a graph. I personally like using the graph because it's easy to tell what is going on and how much you're reducing, and if you're doing it smoothly, or if you're doing this a little bit more roughly with shorter milliseconds. So it's all up to your taste. Now, in conjunction with using this plugin, what I really like to do is also use the Mastercheck to make sure that my mixes are compatible with different streaming services, and also for monitoring of codecs. Why? Because maybe some codecs will sound really harsh on the high end, so it might be smarter to pull down the hi-hats a little bit, or white noise in a EDM mix, for example. So here I have the default preset, which is the AS streaming practice. And what this will essentially do is give you an option to control or view information such as the LKFS, the PSR, your encoder, your monitor encoder, for example here. You can bounce between the left and right one. Sorry, the meter and the monitor, and you can definitely tell the difference in quality. Okay, and then you can also use the delta button here to listen to the difference between your mix and the streaming platform. Let's quickly look at the Spotify preset though. It's quite harsh actually. Here's the desktop. And even the premium version will have lots of reduction. We have roughly a difference of minus 30-ish dB. So that's quite a bit. Not as much as mobile though, or desktop, but premium is a significant improvement. Anyway, let's work with mobile for now, because that's what most people use. So here you can see that my peak is at minus 0.1, which according to Spotify is no bueno. I got to reduce this to minus 1 completely. So maybe I can go back to ISL and reduce this right here to minus 2.1. Let's see what my result is now. I am no longer clipping in mobile mode. And you can hear how also with the coding, with the delta button, it's a little bit less harsh than when you're going past 0.1 or minus 1.0. You can also meter the mid-side mode as well if you like, instead of the left and the right channel. And you can change different colorations here regarding loudness, the peak to loudness range, and the true peak meter. And you can also change the codec more. The units to be LKFS or LUFS, whatever works for you. And there's many more presets here to work with. So there's title. And possibly out of all the streaming services, probably Tidal does the best, I think. You can see that there is a difference here in the higher end. But if you go to the hi-fi mode, there's basically no difference because 16-bit and 24-bit audio will contain the same musical information per se. There's just the possibility that there might be some noise or some distortion if you don't dither properly, okay? So if you dither properly using ISL, if you turn on your dither properly, you make sure that you don't have basically any difference with your signal, which is quite cool. Okay, so let's go back here. And there you can tell that there's basically nothing. If I go to Visualizer, see that there's basically no difference. We're at minus 96.3. So that's basically inaudible. Now, if I go to the high mode, you see that around minus 27 per se. Normal. That is so different. So you could argue that the normal quality inside Tidal is actually worse than Spotify's low quality, which is quite interesting. If you go back to Spotify, kind of sounds harsh, but there is a less difference, I would say. And if you go back to the metering, it's significantly lower, almost 10 dB lower. So that's some cool, interesting information you can gather using Mastercheck. All right, let's take a look at the Stereoplacer plugin. Let's hop over to my Groove Agent instance with my drums. What you hear here is that the hind's a little bit panned to the left, so I can move it to the right. Let's just get rid of that monofilter for a second. So, for example, if I were to split up the different mixer tracks here inside Groove Agent, I could send them to different outputs, and then I could grab the hi-hat. And the thing is, the hi-hat, it's recorded in stereo. So even if I try to pan it a little bit, it will be a bit of unbalanced in my opinion. So with the Stereoplacer, you could actually clean it up a little bit. See that? So now the information that was on the left channel will be on the right channel. We can narrow it down. I think somewhere right there is appropriate. Now this would be a good alternative, like I said, if I had the hats in their own track. However, because I wanted to keep the demo a little bit simpler, I decided not to put all the instruments on different tracks, but I just wanted to show you this tip with Stereoplacer. Let me show you what you can do, for example, with the muted guitar here. Instead of using the SEQ-S like I did here, what you could do is use this Stereoplacer. Okay, and let's say I wanted to pan lots of different frequencies to the left channel. I could simply do so using the harmonic right there. You see that? And I can change the number of harmonics that I have. I could change the Q. So it would just be a matter of automating right here with the frequency position to fit the actual notes you're playing. But it's something that you could do and push some harmonics to the left channel or to the right channel, which is really spectacular. There's zero latency mode, linear phase mode, and HQ mode, just like in Monofilter. And you also have the solo bleed control right here. You have control over the high point shelf, low shelf. See that? And the decay right here. So let me show you what that sounds like. So if you had an instrument that's a little bit more low and inclined, you could control that. Or if you have something that's more harmonically rich on the high end, you can change that decay right there. Last but not least, we're going to look at NUGEN Audio Visualizer. Now, this is my favorite plugin for analyzing my signal. It works great inside of DAW, like so. However, there's also the option to use it as a system-wide application. And voila, there I have the system-wide app that's going to run regardless of the DAW I use, or if I'm listening back through YouTube, I'll still be able to see this and run audio through my analyzers, including my input microphones as well. So it's really nice that I'm able to load up all my devices connected to my computer and monitor any of them. Okay, let's go back to Cubase for now. So what I want to do is show you the different meters. Up here we have the level meter. The next one is the spectrogram. And then we have spectrographs. And we have a stereo analyzer with Lasagis view and polar mode. Now this vector scope is quite handy. Let me show you quickly. If I were to mono my signal, it's as easy as that to see what's going on. Next up, we have a correlation meter that works throughout the whole spectrum. And we have a stat setup so we can change the window of different processes when it comes to the analysis. So we can change weighting curves. There is A, B, C, D, and 1 dB per octave, 2 dB, 3 dB, 4 dB, 5, and 6 dB per octave as well. What I like to have is usually 4 dB per octave. I think that's quite balanced. You see the high end is quite similar to the low end, which is very differently represented to when you have none. See that? Okay, now we have a few other meters here that I really like to modify myself. Here the peak, I like to increase the fallback as far as I can, nearly to 1, that way it reacts immediately to the signal. If you have this a little bit lower, you're going to get a slower fallback. See that? It remains up higher. But if I have it falling back quicker, it just drops off a lot quicker. Okay, you can also change the type of scale here. You can even customize it. And you can even change the colors of this too, to suit your needs. Okay. Let's look at the analyzer, the spectrum analyzer, a little bit more detail. Here we have the timing. Right? We have the fallback for it. We have display banding, so we can look at things in octaves, octave thirds, octave sixths, chromatic, barks, par thirds, melodic thirds. So it's very detailed. You can make lots better mixing choices when you actually have this type of metering information. And again, you can change the analysis tools and the coloration. So it's quite useful to have all this customizability. I personally like to have the fallback a little bit faster. And I like to keep the view on full, because that way I can see that my bass is right here and my kick is punching right around here. So there's a little bit of difference. Let's look at the correlation meter for a second. Now this is a really lovely meter. You can see that there's complete correlation in the low end because we took care of that with the monofilter, except for the parts where we have some of the respace come in. But once we're in the drop, we got pretty much complete correlation right there. See that? And then down here, there is a lot of more movement in the stereo image, so there's less correlation. Now what I could try to do is fix some of this in my mix or in the master by using a Monofilter as well, and just bringing the mid-range down a bit. Again, we can customize this to different colors if we like. We also have different ways of looking at this, similar to the spectrum analyzer. So whatever floats your boat is what you can set up and, you know, save it as a preset. So we can call this oh, I don't want to create a new folder. I want to create a new preset though. Clicking save, and there you go. We save the new default. It's easy as that. So now you can recall things again. For example, let's recall my old spectrum default, right? And if I look at the new default that I have, we reloaded that. Okay. So a lot of these graphs will help you out in the long run. Now there's much more presets here installed. That are meant for different types of works. So here I have the phase inspector. It shows you all the phase correlation plugins. And the vector scope as well. We have no inspection, so now you can see this, all these graphs based on notes. Live octave thirds, so we have faster response, and we're looking at the octave thirds. We have mastering, where we have the meter set up vertically instead of horizontally. I think that's might be a little bit more useful while mastering. And then there's another one for mastering with a different type of view with it on the low end. And we have the vector scope in a different view. Then we have a stereo inspector. And here the spectrum analyzer has been smartly shown to show you the left and the right channel a little bit easier without all the coloration on the low end or in the frequency spectrum. We just see the lines of the curve. It's actually a little bit easier to see some of the differences in the left and the right channel. Then we have a high frequency inspector. So this is just the same graphs, but zoomed in, as you can see there. You can zoom in and out very precisely. So the fact that I can have all these presets and modify them to see maybe my low end in detail or my high end around 3K in that much detail is spectacular. And I don't know of any other analyzer that's this customizable, this easy on the eyes, and you know, that's can be used both inside your DAW or system-wide app. So yeah, I really like this plugin. It's one of the absolute favorites of mine, and it's always on my computer's desktop as well. So as you can see there, it's right here, always ready to be launched. All right, so with that, I'm going to conclude this part of the video. We've talked a lot about the NUGEN Producer bundle, and we've covered every single plugin in this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned a lot from the video. If you have any questions about any of the plugins inside the Producer bundle, leave them down in the comment section down below. I'm Kevin Ochoa with Music Marketing TV. Please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell if you want to see more videos on audio software like this. Once again, thank you for being here with us, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.